So I'm no pro, but obviously you want to line the holes up. So these are not currently lined up, but a few little shimmies here and there should be golden. And then we'll start lifting it up with the jack underneath just to get it center, and then kind of probably wiggle it around a little bit more, and then we should be good. So, all right, if you ever need to do your subframe, just do the engine bolts or the motor mounts first. That way, if the back end is basically on a sag, hopefully the other video caught it, so I don't really, this explanation is useless, but in the event it didn't, because I think the memory card's somehow full, even though I just cleared it, thinking out loud. Yeah, if you put the motor mounts on first, then you can just essentially drop the jack that you have to provide additional weight, and it should just come up on its own. It's very front heavy, so the back end just kind of came up after those were put on. So I'm gonna finish bolting this in. I got the back bolts, and then this part right here on each side, and we should be back in business with the subframe attached. Nice. You'll basically put it through the subframe and then just tighten it up on those same bolts just to pull the subframe up. And then you can bolt the back end in, but original plan of just putting it in there doesn't work. So once you put it in there, tighten it up just to pull it up, and then you should be good to bolt it in as you get closer to it. So we now have subframe re-entered. Oh, you can't see anything. I need a whole ass shop light. Okay. Well, since we can see this side a little better, the subframe is in its final resting place again. So just got to put the nuts on, and we should be golden there. Same on the other side. So let me knock that out before this falls. And just like that, we're back together. So subframe is officially attached. We have the motor mounts in, the full subframe, all 4 bolts attached, the 2 in the back, 2 up here in the front again. Now we just have to start attaching everything else, and we'll be able to put this back on the ground. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe the day after, we'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at. All right, another day. It's time to finish the rest of this. The subframe's in. I don't see any leaks, so we're just gonna start putting stuff back together. On the bottom, the brakes back on, coilover back on, all that stuff. So let's just get started. Move this out of the way real quick. Let's put the coilover back on. So I start going through the process to make sure that I have everything, put it in, and it's been a long, and I mean a long time since I bothered to take these all the way out and put them back in. So dropping everything, tried to put it at an angle, didn't seem to work. Kind of got it in there, but the bottom wasn't seated all the way. So I had an issue trying to get that back in there. At the end of the day, easiest way to do it is put the top piece in, and then you'll end up putting your foot on top of the upper control arm and just push down. That way it gives you all the room in the world and you can move around. Fall out? Oh, it's in there. Okay, cool. There we go. Jeez. What's all that about? So I start finding all the bolts, make sure I have everything lined up, that it actually fits in there, and then I just start putting them in there, tightening them up from the coilover at the bottom into the knuckle, and kind of using a hammer to get the rest of the bolts all the way through. The usual. And I'm not sure what happened to the next clip, but the end link, I had to end up taking the top piece off and then redoing it, but simple things. So working on connections, this fell out, so I had to just push it back in. There's a little mark up there, so for the steering rack itself, it just slips in and out, kind of like a yoke. For this kind of stuff, like your transmission drive shaft, just slips in and out, and then it bolts in down here to tighten it up. So now that that's in there, we're just gonna put one of these bolts in here to secure it. just lining everything up so that way I can put the tie rod in, kind of bolt that down, make sure everything's tight with everything else slightly, probably not all the way tight. I'm going to mark everything with a white pen later, so that way I don't have to worry about, or kind of, I can validate if anything moves, really. Key thing you want to make sure is that you're getting this push pin back in. So just got to turn it so you get to that right location, and then there's a hole right there. So I said push pin, but I meant cotter pin. So now we have it installed. So one more side to do, and then we should be good. And after all that work, now I can finally put it back on the ground. Finally. It only took a couple of days to get everything set up, get the subframe in there, but we were finally able to get through, make this oil leak stop. That way I can enjoy the garage again, enjoy driving around, just leaving my car anywhere, not worrying about it. So, peace of mind. And now that we're back on the ground, it's finally time to put the hood back on, just so we can get everything big, kind of attached to the car again. So that way once we get to driving it to the paint location, we'll have everything ready to go. I just still have to take the hood pins out. Things like that I'll do when I get there, but for now, this will suffice. All right, we'll make this pretty quick. So this wire right here is essentially going to my light. Right there. So that at some point must have come off the solder, so I'm gonna resolder it back on and then be good, but yeah. I remember cutting this a long time ago because my radio stopped working randomly. So yeah, I was trying to get power from somewhere. The things you do, I tell you, the things you do. So now we're just gonna resolder it back on here. I'm telling you, man, if you don't have one of these extensions where you can just put it back up there, it's literally the best thing. You go all the way to the other side of the garage and everything. So, but yeah, let's get started. So. This should be fairly quick. Just clean off the old soldering iron to some degree. Let's see if we can't get this back where it belongs. Which is where? I thought it was going to get resoldered right here, but I think it's on this end. Here. Let me pop this out real quick just to check it out and see where it's actually going, because I just want to double check before I start soldering stuff to stuff. So if you ever needed to pop these lights out, you can use a screwdriver, whatever. There's a little divots back here, so if you want just the light, you can do this one. If you want the whole thing, you can do the holes behind it and then pop it out further. So, just a little prize. So, oh, that's way easier. So let's go there. So yeah, it's got to go, where's it at? Back here. It's got to solder and retouch this. Attached, and then we'll just add a little bit more. Add there. Now, I think a lot of people flip these two to make the light go up instead of down at the ground. But I'm gonna get some LEDs under here at some point, just because the inner child in me loves to see that. So we'll get it all together, but we'll hook this up. And then we may just start putting the dash back in, and probably not yet, probably not yet. I'm trying to hold off putting the dash in as much as possible, just so if there's any overspray or anything, I don't have to worry about it. And it's less things that we have to block off. You can just spray and be good. So that would be ideal, but we'll see as time goes on. All right, guys, so this time I need to go through, I just need to drain the coolant that's in here currently, just because when I was pushing and replacing the oil pan gasket, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there is the dipstick. The dipstick itself, it's literally right here. I don't know if that's even visual or not, but yeah, I can't move it without breaking it, so I'm going to just drain it so I can move this back line out of the way, and then that way I'm able to actually move it around. You'll see what I'm saying once I get to it, but I can move it around and then fill it back up and we should be fine. It's just water anyway, so I'm not really worried, and I feel like I just did this recently in the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, so shouldn't be that bad, but we'll just get started on draining it and go from there. Cool, so I'm just draining I just have a little knob under here, just twist off, a little knob, a bolt. Just twist it off and have the pan underneath to catch all the fluids. And gosh, this thread is so long. There we go. That's funny. And it's coming out clear, so that's always great when your oil's not mixed with your coolant. All right, while it's still draining, I need to replace this as well. I have a replacement set. I may just replace this whole timing belt, call it a day, but nor here nor there. So once that's all drained, then we can come back here. And now you can hopefully see it a little better. Let me take a second ahead so I can make sure you can see it. So now you should be able to see oil dipstick in the wrong area. Can't really bend it behind this pipe right there. So I need to, now that everything's drained, I can take that off and then I can push it back over and then we'll be good. So that's next. Okay, so got the hose off. Always been a pain, but now, oh man, you really can't see. It's really dark in there. Okay, hang on. So we have the hose off. Now you can see the hose right there with the little rust on the end of it. So that is the hose I need to move the oil drain or oil dump right next to it around. So once I move that, then we should be set. All right, so now it is on the right side. That's where we need it. So now, okay, back where it should be, out in availability. So no more issues there. But yeah, little things here and there that need to keep going. Fill it with a little bit more oil, and then open it up and just turn it on, make sure it's okay. Oh, and side note, I was over here working on that obviously, and then just saw that these bolts were kind of backed out a little bit. And then I was like, I wonder if they're tight. Finger tight. Crazy. So double check your stuff. I'm starting to mark things now, just with a line. I'll show you in a second, but that way I know if things are moving and if they're not, just from vibrations or anything for that matter. So, yep. Tighten these back up and keep going. right, so I refilled it with a little bit more oil. Looks like it was low. No coolant in it yet. Don't really care. Not really worried about it. Just gonna fire it up, make sure it's not just pissing oil everywhere, since I haven't done that since doing the oil pan gasket. So we're jerry rigging. We're jerry rigging the ECU. Doesn't really go anywhere because we're not going anywhere, but I just need this to come in through the top, just from the hinge bay, temporarily, so we can plug it into our mat. To our sensor. Let's just put it that way because I cannot remember the name right now. And then let's just make sure it doesn't piss everywhere. Oh, there's no power. All right. Step one, power. All right, and the next video, we're gonna go ahead and just fill it back with coolant, get it ready to actually drive again, and then hopefully be dropping it off for paint here shortly. So stick around, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you guys wanna see or know. See you in the next one.